The balloons were my idea. Not the big kind people rent for parties, just a small bundle from the grocery store tied to the dining chair, blue and yellow. My nephew liked those colors when he was younger, and habits stick longer than people expect. The cake sat in the center of the table. Nothing fancy. Chocolate with white frosting from the bakery 2 streets over. I had cleaned the house the night before, vacuumed the hallway, moved the coffee table so there would be more room for people to stand. It wasn't a big party. Just a handful of relatives, a couple neighbors, the kind of gathering that feels casual enough that nobody thinks about who actually organized it. My sister moved through the room greeting people like the place belonged to her. Technically, she had been living there for 6 months. Temporarily. That word had stretched a lot further than it was supposed to. It started when her lease ended, and she said she needed a few weeks to figure things out. A few weeks turned into a month. Then another. Utilities quietly went up. Groceries doubled. Conversations about contributing drifted into vague promises about once things stabilize. Family tends to treat patience like it's unlimited. I didn't argue. At least not out loud. By the time everyone arrived for the birthday, the house already felt like a place where people forgot who was carrying the weight of it. Still, the afternoon was pleasant enough. People stood around the kitchen island talking about work, traffic, weather, the usual harmless subjects that float through family gatherings. My nephew ran through the living room with a plastic toy sword while someone laughed behind him. Eventually someone asked about the cake. I brought it out. Phones appeared immediately, my cousin recording, my sister leaning in with that proud smile parents use during birthdays. Candles flickered softly under the kitchen light. "Make a wish," someone said. My nephew looked at the cake, then at the room. He didn't blow out the candles. Instead, he grabbed the edge of the plate and shoved it forward. The frosting hit my face before my brain fully understood what had happened. Cold. Sweet. Sudden. For half a second the room went completely still, then laughter. Not cruel laughter exactly, more the reflexive kind people have when something messy happens at a party. Someone said, "Kids, right?" Another voice chuckled. My nephew stood there grinning, completely proud of himself. "I don't want clowns at my birthday party." More laughter. I wiped frosting from my eyes slowly. It dripped down my sleeve onto the floor. The strange thing about moments like that is how quiet everything becomes inside your head. The room was still buzzing with voices, but it felt distant. It wasn't really about the kid. Kids repeat what they hear. I glanced around the kitchen. No one looked particularly uncomfortable. My sister shook her head like it was just one of those unpredictable things children do. For a second I considered doing what I had always done before, laugh it off, grab a towel. Reset the mood. That had been my role for a long time, absorbing small disrespectful moments so the room could stay comfortable. Instead, I reached for a napkin and wiped my face. The frosting came off in streaks. Then I looked at my sister. My voice stayed calm enough that it didn't stop the party entirely, but it carried across the table. "If I'm a clown in my own house," I said, "then I don't think this living situation makes much sense anymore." The room went quiet in a different way. My sister blinked, confused at first. "What?" "I think it's time you found another place." Someone shifted a chair behind me. My cousin lowered her phone. My sister laughed softly, like she was waiting for the punchline. "You're joking." I shook my head. "No." The word sat there between us. Her expression hardened. "You're really going to do this because of a kid throwing cake?" I didn't raise my voice. This didn't start today. For a moment she looked like she might argue. Instead she crossed her arms. "You know I'm still getting back on my feet." "I know. And family helps family?" I nodded. "They do." I didn't add anything else. That seemed to bother her more than if I had started listing reasons. Eventually someone cleared their throat and suggested cleaning up the cake. The party dissolved quietly after that. Conversations became short. People started collecting their jackets earlier than planned. By evening the house was empty except for the two of us. My sister stood in the kitchen staring at the sink.
"You're serious?"
she said.
"Wes."
The conversation that followed wasn't dramatic, no shouting, mostly practical questions. How long, where she might go, what she needed to pack. I kept my answers calm, not cold, just clear. Over the next few days she moved her things out slowly, a few boxes at a time. The hallway echoed more with every trip to the car. When the last one was gone, the house felt unfamiliar in its quiet. A locksmith came the following afternoon. Changing locks is a surprisingly quick process. 10 minutes, maybe 15. The new key was heavier than the old one. That night I sat in the living room without the background noise of someone else's TV or footsteps down the hallway. The place felt different, not happier exactly, just steadier. A week later my sister texted asking how I was doing. The message was polite, careful. I read it twice before replying. For the first time in a long while, the silence in the house didn't feel like something that needed to be fixed.